The good news is that the trust completely avoids that whole probate process. All this, now instead of a public probate process, now the trust is a private, it's like a private contract between you and your family. It doesn't have to go through court. And there's basically 3 levels of planning that we do, 3 different types of trust. The first trust is a revocable living trust, and we call that, I've got my little trust box here. We call the revocable trust, we call that the open box. But before I go over that with you, let me just explain one other concept here, which are creditor-debtor rules, okay, debtor-creditor rules. So those rules say, let's say I die, this dollar represents my entire estate. Well, after I pass, I can give this dollar to my wife. And if I give it to her and she has full access to it, what the creditor rule says, if she has full access to it, then so do her creditors, okay? So instead of putting the dollar, instead of just giving her the dollar, we're going to put the dollar in the trust. And she says, well, you know, I'm not sure I like that so much. Why is my money in the trust? We say, Kathy, don't worry. We're going to make you the trustee. We're going to make you the manager of the trust. Okay, so yeah, that dollar is in there, but because you're the trustee of the trust, you can take it out anytime. Okay? But what did we just talk about with creditors? If Kathy can take the dollar out, who else can? Her creditors, right? So what I just described to you is number 1 there, is the revocable living trust. It's good. Why is it good? Because any trust avoids probate, but it is an open box. Her creditors can potentially get into the trust. Kathy says, I don't like that. We say, okay, let's look at number 2 here, the asset protection trust. So what we do there is we close the lid, we turn the key, and we have a co-trustee. And in this case, we're going to make Tristan, our eldest son, the co-trustee. Okay, so number 2 there is the closed box, the asset protection trust. So a couple of different scenarios here. So in both cases, we're going to bump me off. So we're going to bump me off again. So now Kathy, my wife, and our son, our eldest son, Tristan, they're co-trustees. Simon's gone. Kathy calls up Tristan one day and says, hey, Tris, you know that old Toyota Camry that we have, it finally gave up. We need to get in the trust. We need to buy a new car. What does Tristan say? Of course, Mum. It's your trust. It's your money. So they open up the trust. Now the old man's out the way. So Kathy gets a brand new sports car. Thank you very much. She goes off in the car. She's happy. She's got the top down. Her hair is blowing. You get the idea, okay? So now, many years later, now not such a happy conversation now. Now Kathy's in the nursing home. So Kathy calls up Tristan and says, hey, Tris, you know, I'm here in the nursing home. It seems like all they do, it's only the 18th of month, and you know, it seems like all they do is they talk about money. I got to pay for March. They want April, May, June. You know, it's $8,000 a month. Please, Tristan, they're bugging me all the time. Please, let's open the trust and pay the nursing home. What does Tristan say? Tristan says, no, Mom. Remember, that's why you and Dad set up the trust in the first place, okay? The trust is more than 5 years old now. If we need to, we can apply for Medicaid to pay for the nursing home, but this money is for you. This is for your needs. If you have medical needs that the nursing home doesn't pay for, if you need other things, this is what the trust is there for. And remember too, you and Dad, you wanted this money to go to us, not to go to the nursing home. So Tristan says no, And that's how Kathy gets her asset protection. Okay, so to follow on to finish the thought here, so now I'd already passed away, so now Kathy passes away. And the way that you don't have to do this, it's your trust, it's your decision, but this is the way that we have ours structured, okay, our asset protection trust. Because we have 3 children, we decided to do it this way. So the way it would go is we have the Aap Trust here, okay, the asset protection trust. Of course, we got Simon and Kathy here, then to the survivor, as long as the survivor is healthy. And then on the death of the survivor, we're going to it's all one document, but all under the umbrella of the one big trust. We're going to have some little some sub-trusts here, okay? One to Tristan, one to Katie, and one to Sam. And they want asset protection too. So Tristan's trust, Katie is his co-trustee, Katie is Tristan, and Sam, his is Tristan also. Okay, so how does the conversation go now? Now Tristan, so his trust, his money, he calls up Katie one day, his co-trustee, says, hey Katie, I was just down in Florida, saw this great condo down there. Real estate prices are still pretty cheap down there. I'd like to buy the condo, okay? So, sign off, you're my co-trustee, I need you to sign off on this to buy the condo in my name. What does Katie says? Katie says, hey Tristan, remember what Dad said? Why don't we do this? Why don't we have the condo by the trust, okay? It would be just like you still own it. You can go down there, you can use it anytime, you can invite me, family down there, Sam, whomever. It's just like you own it. But legally, who owns the condo? The trust, right? So then, you know, God forbid, Tristan, I mean, I hope it never happens, but let's say, you know, one day you get divorced and then your now ex-wife says, hey, Tristan, I want half the condo. What does Tristan say? Sorry, I don't own the trust. Excuse me, I don't own the condo, the trust does. So that's asset protection for Tristan. And this can go on down the line. As I say, you don't have to do it this way. You can just pay the money straight out to the kids. We chose to do it that way. But the important thing is the concept is the asset protection, the closed box. That's the important concept. And then lastly, if we have time, we'll talk a little bit at the end about the IRA, because like I said, particularly if your 401ks, IRAs are a major part of your estate, then we need to give those special treatments so we don't have kids, grandkids just blowing that money.